Peace and welcome back to another episode of Wholistic Conversations. Today, you all are in store. We have a phenomenal woman, a goddess, a queen who empowers women, who's an artist, and someone you all know very well. Help me in welcoming Lizzy Jeff.
Hey, thank you. That was
Yeah.
beautiful. A beautiful greeting from a goddess. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
happy that you're here as well.
You made it happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, we both made it happen.
That's true. That's true.
You know,
Thank
it happened how it's supposed to happen. So I'm so grateful.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay, I would love to start off our episode with
Okay.
pulling random cards to get to know each other authentically.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Oh, that's deep. My goodness.
Uh-oh.
It's two questions, so I ask you both? Oh, okay.
Pick one, you answer, and then I'll pick one and I'll answer.
Oh, that's deep. Okay. Would you rather
Okay.
be a popular influencer or a wealthy entrepreneur? Why?
Okay. I would rather be a wealthy entrepreneur. And why? Because I don't need to be known. You know, I feel like I could be wealthy and live my best life and still service the people, do purpose work. And instead of being, you said a celebrity, right? Yeah, no, I wouldn't be a celebrity. I'm okay.
Respect.
Yeah. What about you?
I like the idea of wealthy entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of wealthy, and I like the idea of entrepreneur. It's two of my favorite things. And when I think of wealth, I think of not just financial, but mental, spiritual, emotional, just being a well-rounded, wealthy person and being able to pour into. I think it gives me more to pour into other people because I like, just being of service. So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Mine's read. Do you feel comfortable being yourself?
That's a good one. Yes, I do. Of course, in different settings, I may have a couple seconds of, or feeling nervous or something like that, maybe. But I've spent many years cultivating a relationship with myself, to love myself, to work on things that I didn't always love and appreciate about myself, whether it was based on what society told me or somebody in my family said about me or kids growing up or anything. I did acknowledge that I had a lot of self-doubt at one point, and I decided to do some self-work to overcome that doubt and find new ways to fall in love with me. And it's been really working out for me. And every day I learn something new, about myself. And I really love it. Even on the days where I might be struggling, I still love being me. And I wouldn't choose to be anybody else.
That's beautiful. I feel the same way. I feel like it's been a journey with becoming and accepting me. I feel like being comfortable means you have to accept yourself. And growing up, I remember not fully embracing myself because of, your parents can have a big impact on how you develop and really on your self-esteem. So I remember there was times where someone would be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Then my dad be like, don't hype her head up. It's going to make her big-headed.
Right.
So I always kind of humbled myself unknowingly until people compliment me. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's so, I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm this, I know I'm that, but I don't like to flaunt it. I don't like to, have all of that attention on me because I don't try to hype myself up too much. I don't want to be big headed. So I realized, wow, I really got that from my dad. And really, I'm belittling myself a little bit.
That's deep.
So it's been a journey to, step into myself, accept myself, love myself, and, be big headed.
And I love that for you because your confidence is very radiant, and it really, you light up a room for sure. And I see how other women look at you and feel like just inspired by your energy. I think it's beautiful. So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That. Thank you for showing up and loving you, because it's not easy. We live in a world that's constantly telling us that we aren't worthy, that we aren't enough, that we aren't beautiful enough or smart enough or cool enough or whatever enough. And so I really respect people who do take that time to, build with themselves and learn and understand themselves and have that awareness to really learn how to love them, regardless of what anybody says and regardless of what kind of day they're having.
Yes, Ashe.
Ashe. Another one. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get it cracking then.
We're going to do 3.
Okay. Okay, I like this. This is a good question to ask. They're both really good questions. Even though this one is a great one to ask because we're in a new year, I'm interested in knowing, what are you looking forward to about becoming elderly?
That's really good.
I like that one.
What do I look forward to with becoming elderly? I look forward to, one, traveling. I can see myself being old, but still being able to travel, enjoy life, being with my grandchildren, teaching them, like telling them my story, my experiences, my memories. And I don't know, just showing up for the family. I feel like as you get older, that's your role, that's your responsibility to show up for the youth, show up for your family, and be the glue. And, because everyone is centered around the elderly when there's family events, so
that's beautiful.
That's what I look forward to.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love that question. I was raised by my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and a lot of my closest friends over my life have been elder people who are grandparents. And that's just been something that I've always attracted. I've just always had a close friend who was 70 or 80 or 90 years old. And I've loved that. I love having those types of relationships. It helps me understand more about life, about myself. And I always pray for longevity. And longevity is one of the keys to wisdom. And I love embodying the energy of wisdom and becoming more wise over time and being blessed with the gift of growing and aging. I'm looking forward to just that process. I'm all about a good process. I'm all about evolving and being able to assess who I am in this moment, where I came from, where I'm going, and to be blessed with more opportunities to do that. I'm definitely looking forward to it so that I can be a beacon of light for the next generation as my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my auntie was for me.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm sure that, so speaking of your grandma, you being raised by her, what was that one lesson that stick with you today that she taught you?
I love that. I talk about her a lot in my music and some of the lessons that she imparted upon me, because it was a lot. And I always wish I, as a kid, would have just paid more attention. You know how we think when we get older. But she always is the one who told me to believe in me and be me. regardless of what everybody else was doing or how they were acting. And even though I was born in Los Angeles and partially raised in Los Angeles, I was also partially raised in New Orleans. And that's where my history is. My grandmother, great-grandmother, her mother, they were all born in Louisiana. The family lived in New Orleans. And I was different. You feel me? Just as a kid, I sounded different. Mm-hmm. My body shape was different. Just being raised, just it was different. I had two brothers.
Do you think your grandmother seen any insecurities in you, maybe because you knew you were different and she was helping you along that?
Yes. Yeah. Especially because sometimes I would come home and be like, oh, these girls said this. They said I was skinny, mini, or whatever they call me, making fun about me having small breasts or whatever. And she just always said, exactly who you are is who you are, and it's beautiful. And that's why they feel intimidated. Mm-hmm. That took me a while to understand what she meant by that, because I didn't understand, how somebody could be intimidated by me. But she always just reminded me of who I am and the presence that I bring, and I do bring something into the space when I walk in, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yes.
And to always wear socks and something on my head when it's cold. Yeah. I know that's such a little thing, but I always think about that when it gets cold, because she always told me the cold goes in through your feet and your head first. So shout out to my granny.
Shout out to grandma.
Thank you for asking that.
Yes. What do you enjoy being responsible for?
Myself. Yes. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think as a kid, I got so disappointed in other people that were supposed to show up for me in a certain way. I feel like a lot of us have a lot of inner child stuff through our disappointments in the adults. And so I always was so excited to finally become responsible for me. And once I learned the power of the tongue, the power of my thoughts, the power of my actions, I was like, oh, bet. Let me see what kind of life I can materialize for myself. So I love being responsible for myself first and foremost, because it puts me in a powerful position to then show up in a responsible way for people that I really love and care about, and projects that I really love and care about.
Mm-hmm. I resonate with that.
Yeah. In what way?
In being responsible for myself. I enjoy it. I know I can count on me to show up the best.
Right.
So that right there has gotten me to where I am right now. Like, betting on me, being responsible for me, and not wavering from that. Also my children, I enjoy being responsible.
Okay, you're a
for
mom.
them. Yes.
My goodness. Wow.
Yes.
This is for you, goddess.
Thank you.
A beautiful rose for a goddess.
Yes.
You got to always enter the presence of a goddess with offerings and blessings, and especially mothers. I just have so much respect and love and honor just for you and how you show up and being able to manage the things that you manage and still be a mom.
Mm-hmm. It's a
respect.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
All right, last card. Then we go get into Lizzy Jeff. Who are
I'm
you?
cool with that. This is cool. I like this. This is fun. This is real chill. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ooh, that's deep. Both of these questions are dope. Who or what have you lost since childhood that you would like back?
Oh, I gotta go first.
That's deep.
Okay, I would say my mom. Yeah. I lost my mom. I think I was like 1 year old. Yeah, she passed away from an asthma attack. And she didn't know she was diabetic. And they gave her medicine and it put her in a coma, and she just never woke after that. So So yeah, I always wonder, like, how would I turn out if I did have my mom, and I would definitely, if I had to bring one person back, it would be her, because I wasn't able to build a relationship with her. Well, to a degree. I mean, spiritual, yes. But that physical presence of a mother, a mom, I grew up with a stepmom, but yeah, I would definitely say my mother. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep. Powerful, though. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Ooh, sending love to your mother. Sending love across the cosmos to her spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And, wow.
I know that one is tough, but I feel like everything happens for a reason.
It does.
Yeah.
It does happen for a reason.
And when I really think about it too, with me being a mom, I realize I don't feel like I was nurtured growing up, and I feel like that's the motherly role, right? To be nurturing and everything. But for me to still somehow have that in me,
It's
it's
in
interesting.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's beautiful. And powerful that you can be aware of that and acknowledge that. Wow, that's unfortunate, but fortunate at the same time, because I feel like how your life has been is exactly how it was supposed to be. And many of the blessings and opportunities that have unfolded for you in miraculous ways may have very well been the orchestration of your mother looking out for you from the spirit realm. The ancestral energy. So shout out to your mom. Much love for birthing such a beautiful goddess.
Yes, thank you.
My goodness.
All right.
Let's take a deep breath on that one.
Okay.
I was just watching an interview that Melissa Ford did about with Angie losing her mother, and so many people just resonate with that. It's just one of those deep things that many people have experienced in some way in their lives. And I love, that you're not afraid to speak on it, because there's a lot of healing in that too for other people, and just your beautiful perspective about her energy in your life. I appreciate you sharing. Thank you. So for me, something that I lost during childhood that I wish I could have back. That's deep. I think about people that I've lost. But I would even say my, just like that curiosity, curious, explorative girl that I once was. And I would just jump over fences and hop off roofs and play in the dirt. You feel me? And just all the stuff that you do as a kid that you don't consider, I'm going to be dirty, or the repercussions of stuff. And so going back to that, like, playfulness, that curiosity, welcoming that energy back in, I realize how serious I've gotten over the years in building my business, protecting my energy as my brand and my music and things have expanded and more people have become aware of who I am. I feel like maybe I just become more guarded and just thinking I'm protecting myself. So finding the balance in just sparking that curious, playful nature, and feeling safe to do that. I think as kids, sometimes we feel, a little more safe in that energy. So welcoming that back in.
I feel like that's the way into creativity. It's that childlike energy, the freedom to explore, the freedom to kind of just, be free without judgment, without worry.
Right, without judgment and worry.
Yes.
We getting there. We working. Every day is a journey.
What personality trait has caused you trouble?
Oh my goodness, what personality trait? What personality trait has caused me trouble? That's my friend right there. She know. What would you say? What, me being spicy? So I'm really sweet and fun, and I like dressing like a flower. And sometimes, you feel me, I can be spicy, but not in a disrespectful way, because I love respecting people. I love treating people the way I want to be treated. But, sometimes when you're in that boss position, you have to be very clear in your articulation and communication with certain things. And sometimes people are sensitive, and they can be sensitive when they have you on a pedestal and they, my music. I mean, I feel like I do a really good job at keeping it real and raw AF in my music. But because I live in that spiritual, positive manifestation, materialization, live your best life realm, people think that that's who I am all the time, which I get. And for the most part, I am. I'm cool. I'm fun. I'm funny. You feel me? But sometimes when stuff needs to get done, I gotta activate that bull in me. You feel me? That Taurus moon likes to come through sometimes. Yes, she's giving soft, sensual, luxurious abundance, but she's also giving I'll kick your door in. And I'm a Leo sun. And so I feel like that fire energy, it gets hot sometimes. But I'm also learning. My friend, she broke it down to me one time in a real beautiful way. She said you could be a raging fire that's burning everything in sight down, or you can be a gentle, tender crackle pop of a fireplace that's providing warmth and positivity and love and energy. And so I find balance in that. But I would say probably just, my ability to just articulate very clearly and just be straightforward and direct because cause some trouble. What about you?
I would say mine's the first one that came to mind was my being naive. Sometimes,
being naive.
Being green, as some would call it. Yeah, I think that's got me in the most trouble. Really problems, really, because I'm so open to, the possibility of anything.
Right.
And if it feel good,
you go with
it. I'll go with it, And so now I'm realizing that there's actually beauty in being naive. I had a meeting with a lady, and she was like, you being naive will actually get you far because you're so detached from how hard it is to get somewhere that you're willing to do it because you think it's easy. So I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
I like that she broke it down like that for you.
Yeah.
So you find yourself going into this new season, embracing that part of you while still balancing that discernment.
Yes.
And just being more aware.
Yes.
Respect. We all got room to grow.
Yes.
You feel me? So thank you for sharing that. It's not always easy to share things like that about yourself, but I like how open you are because it helps all of us grow. And that is a good perspective about being naive sometimes. It's like, yeah, because you can either be so rigid and hardcore, or you could be so open and or you could just be right in the middle.
Exactly.
You can understand both sides of it.
And there was, I was listening to, I believe his name is Jordan, and he was talking about how you can't be too positive, being too happy, because you're not going to see the thing for really what it is, And I was like, well, why? Like, why can't you be too happy? But then he was explaining that you'll be more willing to make bad decisions because you're not looking at the reality for what it is. So I was like, that also gives me that other balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have both. So
the fact that you're able to reflect on it, that's a great start, a great place for growth.
yeah.
And I love that you have friends that share that wisdom, that help you just like figure things out along the way. Yeah, it sounds like you got some good people in your life.
Yes. And speaking of good people, what is your earliest memory that when you think about it, you're like, wow, that reminds me of the Lizzy Jeff in the making? That one memory from childhood.
You got some good questions. That one memory from childhood that I was like, okay, that's her.
Like, you reflect
there
on
she
your
go.
childhood, like, okay, she was coming out then, but you didn't know it was emerging into what it is now.
I would have to go way back, because the thing is, from a young age, I've always known I was me. I know that sounds crazy. No, it don't even sound crazy. But I have always known I was me. Now, I just had that revelation just a couple days ago. Like, wow, I really, I was like, I'm going to do this, that, and that. And I did it. Now, how it happened along the way, I didn't foresee that. There's so much space for uncertainty and universal surprises. There's so many things in my childhood that was like a confirmation and a staple. But one that's coming to mind, I remember when I was going to school in New Orleans, and we had a talent show, and I was Lil Wayne for the talent show.
Okay, so why Lil Wayne?
I had the braids, I had the bandana.
Yeah.
I guess living in New Orleans, like that Hot Boys, Cash Money is just very influential. And you hear it in my music too, just the Cash Money influence. But I don't know, I just thought I was Lil Wayne, and I had my braids, did the hair, did the whole thing, but it was just so fun, like channeling Lil Wayne's energy and being on stage and performing. But I think in that moment, it went from, oh, I love hip hop and I can recite Lil Wayne lyrics, to, wow, actually this could be me. This is me. And so that was a moment, especially like receiving the energy from the crowd, or the students. It was dope. That was a moment. That was a vibe when I tapped into my Lil Wayne energy. And I was like, okay, I could really be a rapper for real. And, now I'm rapping.
Yeah.
And doing a myriad of other things, but.
And let's break that down. You rapping, like, when did you know I got something? Because there's, you can say, okay, yeah, I was good on the beat and everything, but when was that moment where it's like, because I feel like when you got something, the world and the universe, God validates it.
That's true. So, that's good. You're right. When you got something, the world, universe, God validates it. That's beautiful. The thing is, so I have a couple brothers. One of my brothers, he was always listening to music and rapping. He was for real the rapper. And we would just listen to music, listen to Cash Money, listen to No Limit. And then he sometimes would start freestyling. I would start freestyling. But honestly, I grew up as the only girl. And there was a lot of stuff that I was going through as a kid, and I didn't know who to talk to about it, or how do I move through this. So I started writing poetry. And so it started off as poetry, but I always was good with my words, rhyming, making things make sense, articulating myself. But it probably wasn't until I started doing open mics, poetry sessions, jam sessions. But there was this one time when I was in college when I did an open mic and I did this poem, and it was really, really dope. It's crazy because I just found that book the other day when I was, not the other day, but like a month ago in my storage unit in LA before I left. I found my old poetry book, and I was like, dang, I remember this era. But one of the poems that I shared when I got off stage one of the ladies, her name at the time, her poet name was River Flows, and she was one of the most acknowledged poets in the college scene. She did a lot of Def Jam poetry or Def Poetry Jam, and she was just winning so many awards for poetry and spitting. She was from New York too, so she had that. After the show, she came up to me and she was like, "Yo, you a rapper?" She was like, "You really a rapper?" She was like, "Nicki Minaj, yeah." She was like, "But you really," she was like, "You need to explore that and see what's up. Like, have you thought about it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have thought about it." But I remember one time when I mentioned it to one of the elders in my family, they responded when I said, "Could you see me as a rapper?" They said, "No, you too smart for that." So I kind of like put it to the side a little bit, and that's why I was leaning into the poetry. But when Riva confirmed it, I was like, okay, bet. And so that just, sometimes it takes that one thing that somebody says to either make you say F it or make you be like, okay, let me explore this. And so that was a standout moment, just being acknowledged by a prolific poet who was being acknowledged and winning all these awards. I said, okay, bet, let's do it. So from there, I just started exploring it more. So.
And okay, so you were saying that you didn't have anyone to speak to when you were younger because you were living with your brothers.
And my brothers and my grandmother and my great grandmother.
Okay, and you were able to express yourself through your music.
Yep, and
and I feel like that's why your music is like women empowerment. Like when I listen to it, like I feel like I'm in my bag. I feel like,
that's good to hear.
I feel good. I feel just empowered to be a woman.
Okay.
And tell me about you working at Victoria's Secret.
Okay.
And how that like really push your women empowerment movement.
I love that because my music is so diverse and I touch on so many topics. But I love that women empowerment is at the top of when people are like, this is what I get from your music. And I love that you feel inspired by it. And yeah, Victoria's Secret, working there for over a decade, definitely played a very large role in just my own autonomy over my body, self-awareness, understanding, but mostly realizing how other women are dealing with insecurities. And I had the opportunity to work in some of the most luxurious Victoria's Secret stores that existed during the height of the Victoria's Secret. Just, it was a good time. That was when the models, the angels was popping. Even though I had my own feelings about the angels, we're not going to get into that because the clients that were coming in didn't look like the angels. You feel me? They looked like my auntie, my mama, my homegirls, Becky, Sally, Susie, you, Yasmin, you feel me? And all different body types. And so, I would have the opportunity to work one-on-one with probably 10,000 women. I couldn't even tell you, over 12 years with this company, being in the fitting rooms one-on-one, figuring out bra size, panty size, figuring out, women who had got breast augmentation where they were made too big. One was larger than the other. Women who had been through some type of illness where they had to have one removed, both removed, all kinds of things, C-section scars. And I took in a lot of tears from women. And I was like, wow, we carry so much. And we carry a lot of trauma in our breasts and a lot in our wombs. And I've, spoken on this in interviews before. I'm like, yo, okay. So I recognize my power in that instance was to speak life into these women. And it was transformative, it was, and maybe in the moment I didn't realize how big it really was, but it was some beautiful work being done in that space. So aside from all the things that the brand itself and company has been associated with and et cetera, I still had a platform to share and heal and help support women. And in that, I supported myself. And it helped me work on my self-esteem even more.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to learn about women's insecurities in such a personal level, women who have had many kids, lost kids, miscarriage, lost their husbands, got cheated on, all kind of things that we carry. I was really able to learn and work through it and create a path of understanding for myself to be able to channel that positive empowerment through my music, because women do carry a lot. So.
And as we carry a lot, I feel like that get passed down, right? Generational.
It does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say some of your generational curses that you're breaking right now?
That's deep. Generational curses that I'm breaking right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole book. But the first thing that just comes to mind when I think about my mother, who is a beautiful, brilliant, prolific, next level mindset woman who has overcome some of the deepest, darkest, most challenging trials and tribulations of her life. This is a woman who came from the 80s era, Los Angeles, 90s, police brutality, crack epidemic, it all, gang culture, it all. I got a lot of respect for that woman, because she has been able to overcome so much. I just really am in awe of her and her journey. But sometimes I think she can be a workaholic. And I understand why. She is in a position where she influences and impacts so many women on a daily basis. So I understand why she is so passionate about her job. But I do feel like sometimes I'm just like, mother, like, my goodness, take a second, take a break. So I see that within me. I just be going so hard all the time, nonstop. I don't want to be that. You know what I mean? I like being of service, but also my mom, as she's growing into her elder years, she still look good. She's still beautiful. But at that age, I want to be chilling, luxuriating in my wealth with my family, more time, to just do things with the family and really build and heal and move through certain things. And I feel like, just that workaholic energy, but I do respect her path, but I do feel like that is something that I'm acknowledging and, excuse me, I'm really working on not becoming a workaholic. Mm-hmm. Maybe I already am. Yeah. So maybe it's more so tuning down, dialing back, saying no, listening to the nap ministry, meditation, taking a nap, saying F it sometimes and just kicking back and doing me. And so that's definitely one thing I want to shift so that the next generation of women in our family don't got to go so hard their whole lives.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Thank you.
That you were able to see that within her and then to say, oh, wait, I actually see it in myself too. And sometimes when we see it in them, we judge them.
Right. That's true.
We don't understand it until we start to understand ourselves and we see it. And now we're like, oh, you know what? I can actually give her a little bit more grace because you have to give yourself that same grace.
It's helping me a lot. It's really helping me. And I love the opportunity because, as I stated, my grandmother raised me. So I didn't really get to know my mother until I was about 16 years old. And we had our challenges, and I moved out when I was 18. So we didn't really spend a lot of time getting to know each other. But now as an adult, as a woman who is like rooted in my spiritual and my rituals, and just in wanting to live a peaceful, cohesive, just cool life. We've been able to create a relationship that's really strong. But I also recognize the closer and the deeper we build, the more I'm learning. I'm seeing a lot of me in her, a lot of her in me. And sometimes that can be a mirror. That's a mirror where you can embrace it, but sometimes it might be a trigger. Mm-hmm. So that's been interesting. And of course, I feel like if it's one person on this earth that is going to trigger you, it's going to be your mama. And I'm just very thankful that we kind of got a second chance. Because I wasn't sure if we were going to get it, to be honest. I didn't know how it was going to lay. And so aside from all of that, I just really do my best to love on her and be honest and be open and speak my truths and listen and just be whatever model daughter could be. Mm-hmm. It's not always easy, but I am, just thankful that somehow God saw to it that we just got an opportunity.
So for someone that's going through something similar where, they're being raised by their grandparents and they're not introduced to their mom until they're 16, and being at 16, well, I'm not saying introduced, right? But rebuilding that relationship at 16, you going back to your 16-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
Wow. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Have grace. Because I think at 16, we expect so much from our parents. You wasn't there. Where were you? Type stuff. But just if I could have had more grace and patience. And I do think I did a pretty okay job with how we started off, but she was also dealing with coming from a lot too. But as far as me, just, it's not your fault. You good. You're safe. You're protected. It's going to work out for you. And just stay strong, stay positive. If it didn't work out today, try again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Spend more time observing and listening to the things that makes her happy so that you can try to show up in that energy more. Mm-hmm. And maybe that, might make it a more peaceful and cohesive experience. That's some deep stuff. I don't know how much time I've spent with just going right back to her and just checking in with her. But what I will say is with my mother, I feel like I have had a lot of grace and understanding. Sometimes she might be like, my bad, you feel me? I wasn't available, but I'm always like, don't trip. The fact that you here now, I understand, because if I was your age with a daughter, and
how old was she?
Well, she was a woman,
okay.
But I mean, she was 27.
Okay.
But I'm 37.
Yeah.
You feel me? I just told my age. I don't really care. 10. You feel me? What is 10? That's symbolic. That's a spiritual number. But I'm like, at 27, me thinking about having a baby girl with all the things that was going on in the world, in the city, the fact that we found our way back to each other, I'm just very thankful for that. So I don't really hold too many grudges. I'm not really too upset with her for what happened in our past. I'm just focused on growing now. And sometimes those conversations are deep and they might not always feel so beautiful and pretty. But having compassion for myself first and foremost, and that allows me to have more compassion for her and our situation and just the relationship that we are building. And I'm very, very thankful to the Lord for the opportunity to have that.
Yes. Shout out to your mother.
Shout out to her. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Yes. Okay. So yesterday you had a Zen and Kush. Let's talk about it. What is Zen and Kush?
What is Zen and Kush?
Yes.
I feel like it's always evolving, But for the most part, Zen and Kush is a frequency that exists for people to pull up and catch a beautiful vibe. It's a curated event. Excuse me. Let me drink some water. It's a curated event series that I started almost 7 or 8 years ago, where I was like, yo, we need a space for us. Melanated people need a space. I was working in the cannabis industry. Delicious.
Stay hydrated.
Right, stay hydrated. I was working in the cannabis industry as a bud tender. I was doing music. I was hosting events. I was doing it all. You feel me? I was like the it girl of Los Angeles, doing interviews, red carpet, all of that fun stuff. But working in the cannabis industry opened me up to a whole new portal, a whole new realm where we as melanated people weren't being reflected or acknowledged in that industry, when over at the time, 90% of people that were locked up for nonviolent cannabis crimes were melanated people, Black people, brown people. But at the dispensaries, that wasn't being reflected. On the farms, it wasn't being reflected. In the brands that were being birthed, that wasn't being reflected. I would be invited to speak at different events, perform, and it was always a sea of whiteness. And I was like, you know what? This ain't cool. So I said, how can I create a space for us to enjoy our herb, learn about it, because there's huge stigmas within our community around cannabis, listen to some good music, you feel me? But without the presence of alcohol, because I feel like anybody could go to a bar or a happy hour, but it's like when you leave, you feel like more tipsy. You feel like you got a hangover. You might not feel so elevated, rejuvenated, inspired, and activated on a cellular level. So I was like, how can we get people to feel activated on a cellular level? We bring in fresh pressed juices. We bring in tonics, herbal teas. We bring in something alternative. I just wanted to do something different where I had a place to share my music, but the people that I love, the artists that I am inspired by, also have a place to share their music. And so, yes, over these last 7, 8 years, Zen and Kush has evolved as I have evolved. I have become more in touch with my feminine energy, with my sensuality. I'm still growing every day, you feel me? But I'm like, okay, maybe by year 3, I was like, okay, let's make it sexy.
Yeah.
Lingerie, lace, silk, top tier bedroom chic vibes. Let's dim the lights a little bit. Let's get the mood lighting going. Let's get the roses and the fresh tonics and the erotic dancers. And so it kind of feels like an erotic club fused with a jazz club. It's like all your favorite things from a club, from a lounge, but the music is uplifting, empowering for your spirit. There's not a lot of toxic beverages being, you know what I mean? It's just a vibe. It's just something sexy. The music ain't too loud. It's people on a particular vibration. And so it's the community, it's the event series, it's the music, it's the brand, it's the movement. Zen and Kush is a movement. This year, I probably went to over 25 cities worldwide with the Zen and Kush experience. And in every city, people are pulling up, they showing up, they looking good, they bringing gifts. It's farmers, it's alchemists, it's doulas, it's medicine women and men, it's Reiki healers, it's yoga instructors, it's massage therapists, fashion designers, brilliant financial planners, tax advisors. It's just everybody. Everybody has a place to thrive and shine and share their gifts within the Zen and Kush space. And I just want to keep building and growing and continue to make it a universal experience for everybody.
Yes. And you spoke of sensuality, femininity. So for someone who's out there, right, they like, I want to tap into that more, me being a woman, want to tap into my femininity.
Okay.
What advice would you give them?
Well, the femininity, the feminine part. Let me just be honest. Growing up, I was a tomboy. I was a boy. I mean, I wasn't a real boy. Let me be clear, because today age, y'all be tripping. I was a girl. I was born a girl. But having brothers, being in the hood, you feel me, like being so thin and slim, being like teased for not having a big shape, a curvy shape. I wore big clothes to like just fit in with the boys and play sports. And you feel me? I was still cute. I knew I was cute, but I just felt more comfortable in that energy for a long time. I played basketball, softball, football. I was outrunning most of the boys on the field. And I love that for me. You feel me? I could run faster than them, jump higher. But I think once I reached my mid to late 20s, working at Victoria's Secret, working at the flagship store in Vegas, I definitely tapped into that feminine energy more, that beauty. I started playing with blush, you feel me? And somehow my titties miraculously grew to the size of a 32 double D naturally. I manifested that because my whole life I got teased for having no breasts, having small titties. And then from like 23 to 30, I had some double Ds, y'all, on this small frame. Now, around the age of 30, I started losing weight. It was a lot to keep up with. And of course, all the weight disappeared in my titties. But I still embrace myself. I'm a good 32C now. What was your question? Oh, the feminine part.
Yes.
Okay, so it took me a little while to like start embracing the color pink and wearing dresses. Like I would wear dresses, of course, for like balls and recitals and stuff like that. But I felt more comfortable in my sweats and my sneakers. I mean, shit, you see me right now. But I started to flirt with that energy of femininity, and I learned how powerful that energy can be, harnessing it. And I'm a woman, and I see how I shift the energy of a space when I walk into it. I see how if I'm really being intentional with my energy, I can get anything I want. I see how men respond to my energy when I'm in my feminine bag. And I see how the universe responds to all my deepest desires when I'm in that. And so it takes practice daily, like how I choose to wear something, the music I decide to play, how I, fix my hair. I might put a pop of some pink lipstick on or some red lips, or, how I breathe. When I step outside and I feel the wind, instead of being like, ooh, it's cold, I'll be like, okay, universe, you flirting with me. It's sexy. Just playing that dance, being in that dance with the universe, with my feminine energy, learning to love my breasts, learning to understand the power of my womb when I'm on my cycle. When I'm on my cycle, my goodness, we're taught to like hate our cycles, but eventually I understood the power of what it means to be a woman that bleeds.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So, okay, let's talk about it.
Because you do, in your song, Goddess Code, you talk about free bleeding.
Right, I do.
And I want to know more about that.
Oh, can you mind pass me a rose so I can just hold it? Come here. Just the energy. Because they say roses carry the highest vibration of any flower in the universe, and also they're considered the flower of the goddess. And so at all my shows, events, at my house, my apartment, wherever I'm at, hotel room, we're going to have some roses, because the roses bring that feminine, beautiful goddess energy, and it's red, the red energy. And when you look at it, it's kind of like a portal, a PUSSY portal. But when it comes to free bleeding, I wish that somebody would have sat me down and talked to me about this when I was 14, 15, 16, because there's been so many times where I started my cycle and I was so mad about it, or I might have bled through my pants, and I went and hid out in the bathroom, and I called my homegirls, can you bring me a sweater or some pants? Instead of just embracing it. But it's like when we're on our cycle, it's when we are our most intuitive, our most tuned in. It is something so prolific being a woman, where we bleed for days and days at a time, every month, and never perish. You are magic. If that alone is not magical, I don't know what is. Now, I understand that not all women bleed, and many no longer bleed. But to understand the power of that and what it means. And so free bleeding is something that I learned along my spiritual journey. It's just it's the act, and it's an art of just allowing your womb to bleed. So no pads, no tampons, none of that toxic stuff that goes inside your coochie lips. Ladies, stop it. Now, everyone has their own ritual. Cups, pads, organic, whatever. There's so many things that exist. But I do recommend every cycle, at least free bleed at home. If you have a private backyard, especially if it's a full moon or a new moon, go outside, bleed on the earth, bleed on a tree, bleed on one of your house plants. Now, you'll see how fast those plants blossom because of the power of your blood. For some people, this might be a weird topic, but it's like everybody came from a woman's womb. So get over yourself and acknowledge the fact that women are prolific, magical, heavenly, celestial beings of greatness and divine creation. And we have the power to literally curate portals through our universes, through our portals. And when we bleed, it's when we are our most creative. We are tuned in. We are flowing. And so sometimes when I'm at home, I like to have my roses. I like to pour up a little hibiscus, herbal Damiana tea, set the lights. I got my red light bulbs. It's always a vibe. Put a sexy playlist on for myself. And I might lay out a beautiful towel. And I might just lay on a towel and I might just bleed. I might just lay there for hours and listen to the music and let my body flow and do what it do, instead of trying to constrict it with some type of plastic device or paper or toxic material that takes 1,000 years to recycle back into the earth anyways. And so I've saved a lot of pads, money, buying them, but not just about saving it, not just about what it does for the earth, but it's the spirituality of existing and embodying the goddess energy by allowing yourself to flow, whether you're outside in the privacy of your yard and just bleeding on the earth, or you're in your home and you're just kind of laying in your bed. Maybe you have a special sheet and you just lay there and just let it flow.
Yeah.
It's magical.
I believe that's something we need to get taught more, right, as women. Whether it's books, music, something, because, you know, as you grow up, I don't know if I can really recall my first time, like when I started my cycle, right? But I'm like, was I really educated? Did I understand the process, you know?
Right.
And that's really where your mother, you know what I'm saying, help you along that journey. But yeah, we need to know more about the power of the blood.
It shifts things. It shifts your confidence, your self-awareness, who you are as a woman.
Yeah.
And knowing like there's certain phases, there's 4 different phases. I mean, I'm not going to get all up into it, but you know, there's different phases when you're on your cycle, because our cycles are 25 to 30 days, however long, but there's 4 different phases of the cycle. So sometimes, like for me right now, I'm on day 2, and it was like the end of the year cycle going into the beginning of the year. So this one is more heavy, more intense, more, I'm like releasing the whole year, the energy, and also creating clear pathway for more abundance and creativity as I go into the new year. I'm just releasing all the baggage, letting it go. 10 years ago, I may not have seen it as that, but because I see it as that now, I'm able to prepare the space, welcome her in. I don't really deal with big cramps or anything like that. Yes, some months, depending on the cycle and the phases of the moon and where I'm at emotionally, I may feel more impacted, but it has become easier and smoother, less painful to deal with because I'm able to acknowledge her presence and also sip certain herbs that soothe my womb, that soothe that process while I'm moving through it.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And thank you for educating us, and
Thanks for
encouraging
asking.
us to accept that part of us and love us and see the power that we have.
Yeah.
With that.
Thank you. There's some women that make art with, there's some women out there that's doing some big things with when they're doing on their cycle.
Yeah.
But I would just say journal. Like next time you're on your cycle, journal, see how you feel, write about where you are the first 5 days of your cycle, the first 5 to 7 days, then the first 7 to 14 days. Usually I believe that's when we're ovulating. Everyone is different. But let me touch on that just real quickly is there's so many older non-melanated men making decisions about women's bodies and politics and law who have absolutely no experience or no knowledge or understanding of what's really going on. And they're creating these laws around our wombs. And I think it's just calling us to go deeper within, to track your cycles, to understand where you are in the process, to know when you're ovulating, because it does help us reduce the amount of toxic pills and things that we put into our body because we think we might be pregnant when actually, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so knowing that, understanding that,
yeah.
And this is January, so it's the perfect time to start tracking your cycles, time of the year, how hungry you are, what's your mood. So you know certain times of your cycle, stay in the house. Certain times you might want to be in nature. Certain times you might want to be eating soups and warming, nourishing things where, during certain phases you might just want a smoothie and a acai bowl and a salad.
Yes.
I'm done.
That's actually something I incorporated I would say over the last 6 months, tracking my cycle, downloading the app. And it's like, okay, you get the rhythm, and it's like, I'm getting to know myself more instead of guessing or like, is it about to come on or is it not?
Right.
You know
Knowing.
Yes. Knowing.
Of course,
Prediction.
some days it might come early than expected or later than expected. But when you're in tune with that rhythm of your body, Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting mine for another week to 10 days. But the last couple days, my body, I'm like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
But sometimes that happens around certain moon phases or high intensity emotional moments in your life where she might be called to just come sooner, and you might need to just release some.
Yeah.
You might be releasing that your ex-lover. You might be releasing some grief. It's a lot of things you might be moving through.
Yes.
Okay,
No, this is perfect, and I'm so thankful to have you on as a guest. Before we get out of here, who would you like to collaborate with in the future? Who do you see like that perfect collaboration, you and who?
Can I see my phone real quick? I have a list.
Okay.
I'm gonna just run through it.
Okay.
But the first person I want to say is Yasmin Saida. We collaborate often. But this year we got big plans and big visions. Because she is one of the most creative, dopest, flyest designers and stylists that I've had the opportunity to build with. She's also my friend, which is truly a blessing. And at the Zen and Kush Fest in Miami a couple weeks ago, she customized all of my looks and they were top tier, next level, just as good as any of the other top designers. And so I foresee us doing a major collaboration of fashion, getting the funding that we desire so that we can create that fashion brand together, that collection that we envision. And so that's definitely the first.
Shout out to you, Yasmin.
Yeah, she's based in Atlanta. She does custom pieces and she makes suits as well, that's on a whole nother level. Okay, but I started a collab list. Where you at? Where my collab list at? Where you at? Where my collab list at? Let me pull it up. because it's always changing. It's always evolving.
Who's one person, while you looked that up, that you enjoy working with?
One person that I enjoy working with, Londrell.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Yes.
I love him. He's amazing. He's a wonderful representation of divine masculine energy. Just respect, power. I really feel like I'm in the presence of God when I'm with him and I'm listening to every word he's saying. Even and you know how powerful he is in his music.
Yes.
But in his presence, especially when we're in the studio, is next level. So I did want to make sure I said that. Yes, I put him out there.
Shout out to you.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Londrell. Okay, so oh man, I can't find my list, but
it's okay. Top 3 to come to mind.
Some of the people that are on my secondary list, which is so funny, Erykah Badu for sure. In many ways, I see her DJing as Zen and Kush. I see us making music together, creating a strain together, all kind of fly stuff. I would love to work with Andre 3000.
Okay.
I would love to work with Sway. You feel me? From Sway's universe. I see us doing something fly together, music, but also something really dope and medicinal for the culture. Rhapsody, for sure. And there's this woman, her name is Zenova King. She works in the industry, and I believe she does PR, marketing, just top tier collaborations for artists. She's just one of those black queens in the industry who knows what she's doing. And I'm welcoming in a collaboration with her as well as with Miss Diddy. I really like Miss Diddy. She one of the baddest boss queens in the industry. And I just see myself aligning with more prolific black women to continue to expand this mission even further. And I'm really welcoming in that strong, dynamic team. And I'm excited, but I like collaborating with people because I could say Drake, you feel me? I even want to work with Sexy Red.
Okay.
I could see that. I see us doing some music together. And one little touch that I'll say is I saw her do an interview with these gentlemen where she spoke on some real deep stuff that happened to her. But the gentlemen kind of laughed it off because they didn't understand how to respond to a woman sharing such a deep traumatic thing that happened to her. And it was just kind of overlooked. And it came out, but I would love to sit with her. I've sat in hundreds, maybe even 1,000 women's circles all over this world. And I feel like I would love to do a women's healing circle with Sexy Red. And let me say this.
Yes.
Lauren London.
Okay.
I love Lauren London. And my song Goddess Code, which when it hits 10 million streams, I will produce the visual for it. But I want the visual to be a movie. You feel me? And I would like for Lauren London to be the creative director of that music video / movie featuring Queen Afua.
Yes. I see that. I can see that for you. Yes.
Thank you for asking.
Positive energy.
Thank you.
And manifestations. And,
thank you, Goddess.
Allowing everything to happen the way it's supposed to.
Thank you.
And, thank you so much for being a guest on Wholistic Conversations. We love you.
Thank you. I love it here.
Yes. And, let the people know any upcoming events, where they can find you.
Okay.
And then we're about to get out of here.
And if you could say one person that you really look forward to bringing into your creative space, who is that? Who do you want to build with?
Londrell.
Oh, Londrell.
Yeah, so when you said
it's done. It's done. And so it is.
Yes, there
Bet.
we go.
Bet.
Yeah.
Okay. You said, what's coming up next? This deep, refreshing breath is what's coming up next. So this month I'll be going to Denver for the Empower Expo featuring Queen Afua, and I will be leading a workshop around sensuality, manifestation, and self-love right before she takes the stage. So that is an honor for me to be able to set the tone for the queen. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I have many Zen and Kush events coming up. But this year, what I'm going to focus on, instead of doing so many dozens of events around the world, what I want to do is focus on the Zen and Kush Fest, because it was such a beautiful success, because I was able to do that first one after 7 years of hosting these events. I now know what I need to make the next one even better, because I was able to get Londrell, Tony Jones, Dizzy Wright, AJ McQueen, RK's, Sunrise the Divine, and myself, of course, all on one stage. It was a truly prolific weekend, and it shifted a lot of things for the culture. And so I foresee myself receiving the funding and sponsorships that I need to continue to bring that type of energy to the forefront of culture. Is growing music, as Londrell says. He says it's growing music, and the people who listen to our music, they'll always listen to our music because our music is growing music, and they're growing with us. They're evolving with us. And I want to continue to create spaces for people to come to me, to come to us, instead of me having to go everywhere and exert so much energy. I would want to just harness that energy, put it into the Zen and Kush Fest, and invite people to come. So stay tuned for the Zen and Kush Festival announcements this year. And I got my new album dropping. So keep up with me on all social media platforms at Lizzy Jeff, LIZZY-JEFF. Visit my website, LizzyJeff.com, and just stay tuned for all the fly stuff I got coming. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes.
Hey, got it. Thank you.